GM. Well, is it a GM? Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. We can definitely pull it apart and figure that out. Welcome to another episode of Wake and Jake, you guys. We're reporting live from pretty red day, pretty brutal flash crash / sell-off / mass liquidation event in the market. We got ETH down about 20% on the day. Well, it's bouncing a little bit, but it's a bloodbath. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So a lot of people scared, a lot of people, panicking, worried, either panic selling, panic buying, you name it. A lot of panic in the market. So it's a perfect day for us to get together and woo-saw a little bit and talk about the market and just what we're seeing, what we're thinking, what we're expecting. As always, I'm here to host, and we've got Jake and Bake, the man himself, here to talk us through his thoughts, macro, the week, and etc. So without further ado, let's get another episode of Wake and Jake started. GM Jake, how you doing, brother?
Jim. Doing all right, all things considered. Yeah, like you said, man, pretty crazy past week we've had, especially over the weekend. We saw even greater sell-off. Yeah, we talked about last week. We were actually, hand up, I was pretty bullish last week, so that sucks. We got up to 70K, and it's just been down only since then. In a pretty drastic fashion. I think the support that I gave was around like 63K, and since that gave out, it was a real quick slide down. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I was going to give you a little bit of credit. I think we were all bullish, but to be fair, we did play a game last week called Over or Under, and I asked you on today if you thought the Bitcoin price would be over or under 75K, and to your credit, you said under. You didn't say how far under, but you did say under. So I'm just as guilty as everyone else as far as last week just being caught up in the bullish sentiment. But hey, I don't know. We've talked about these before when we had these little 5% crashes, and people have been freaking out, and we've kind of just said, hey, this is nothing, this isn't even the real deal. Well, this feels a lot closer to the real deal to me. I'm seeing a lot of people saying worst crash for certain markets and indexes ever, or a lot of them, it's the second worst since like 2008. So definitely a real one. I remember before just being like, yes, I don't know, it just doesn't feel real. I remember those 25% daily down candles. Well, we finally got one. So I'm eager to hear if this is if there's a positive spin on this, if this is a final shakeout for the over leveraged longs, or what the take is. But this definitely feels right, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like I have Stockholm syndrome with crypto or something, but this feels more par for the course. Before you rip, you got to have these 20 to 25 to 30% pullbacks. They just seem so violent and so crazy in the moment, but they sort of always play out that way. At least that's my take. But what are your thoughts here, man, on sort of price action and what's happening macro-wise?
Yeah, this is definitely, it's definitely not a crypto only thing. We're seeing, we're kind of getting dragged down even more so by the macro. There's a lot of, recession talk going around. I think, a lot of people are saying what started off is actually the Bank of Japan. Here's a invoice hangout. I'm going to post a thread here, kind of talking a little bit more about how the Bank of Japan raised their rates by 25 basis points. I think they haven't raised rates in like 30 something years or something like that. They were always at 0%, and that kind of caused a bit of a cascade effect. And it talks about that in that thread. I'm not any type of macro expert, so I can't really dive into that too much from a TradFi standpoint. But we've certainly seen those broader effects hurt us in crypto. It's basically all risk on assets. In the farther down the risk spectrum you get, then and when there's a dump, usually the bigger the percentage dump that happens across the board. You can kind of see that in the charts when you go from TradFi to crypto to Bitcoin to ETH, and then to like meme coins and stuff. The percentages get bigger and bigger the farther you go down the risk cycle here. So I guess to talk a little bit about where we're at, and hopefully maybe we can glean where we're going. We have from the 7-day, I'm looking at it right now. We're down 20% from last week on Bitcoin, 26% on ETH, and 30% on Sol here as a drop. And that's after we've already had quite a nice bounce this morning from Bitcoin did hit, I think it was around like 49.5 or so on the lowest mark. And now we're back up to, about 54 or 5. So nice, like 10% bounce already this morning. Yeah, I think I'll just share kind of, again, I'm not at all a macro expert, talk about this all the time, but I just, I try to follow people who are and hopefully glean some insight from what they're talking about. I posted this earlier, but Web3 quant called bottom, like right at 50K for Bitcoin. And that was a great call because we've already bounced quite a bit. That was like just a couple hours ago or a few hours ago. Again, it remains to be seen if that's any type of high time frame bottom, with that only being a few hours ago. He also said, in the replies to that tweet, that he said it's better to obviously to wait until end of day to really get a confirmation on that, to see if it's any type of longer time frame bottom here. So I think if you want to be conservative, not go crazy aping into stuff right now, you can wait till end of day and get a better idea of it. That's kind of where he's at. Donald, a guy obviously reference all the time, pretty much every week on this because he's my favorite to follow. He posted a chart. This is the same lines that he's had drawn for like a couple months now, basically on this chart, and it has like where we are at is a decent support around like 50K or so, and we've obviously bounced from that. He also has tweeted in a bunch. He's like, I looked at the charts and I can safely say I have no clue what to do or what's going to happen. So hard to really glean anything from that either. But basically has like 50K as a support, and we saw that we bounced a decent amount off of that 50K spot. But it's not the strongest support. He has, 40 around 44K. He said like 41 to 44K as a really rock solid, strong, super strong support that he would likely. He said unretire. he said he's retired from crypto. I don't know if he's actually is or just memeing, but he said he would probably buy at that spot if we got back down to there. So that's a level I'm really looking at. If we were to get it down there, I feel like I'd feel real good getting in around that spot. And
then clarity, which one was that you're talking about? Is that the 42 to 44?
Yeah, like 42, 44 area. Again, that's if we don't see some significant strength in the coming days here. Right now, it's still. I mean, I feel like I keep saying this, but it is what it is. I don't really know what's going to happen, and we've kind of seen that in the market where we've just chopped a ton in the past several months now, and it's really been hard to really figure out what's going to happen with the market. But here's one more take from Kobe. Who, if you don't know Kobe, if you're kind of newer, I guess, he's like one of the like most revered traders, I'd say. He doesn't really ever post his like macro thoughts anymore because he said people just assume that he's like going to be like right on everything that happens. So he's like kind of afraid of just posting, and he's also like 100 millionaire, if not like a billionaire. I don't even know. He's also super rich, so it doesn't even matter to him. But oh my god, it won't let me post this. Hold up, give me 2 seconds here. But he's basically saying that he had an interesting take. I actually don't know how really actionable this is, but he essentially said that he doesn't even think we are in a cycle yet, a bull cycle yet. Basically like comparing this year to 2019, which was sort of still like the bear where it chopped around quite a bit. Yeah, let's see what 2019. Yeah. And essentially what he's saying is, we're kind of just in like this weird zone, and we're kind of pre any type of new cycle right now. He wouldn't really expand on like when he thinks we'll enter a cycle, or like when how long he thinks or how he really defines the cycle. So I don't really know if there's anything to glean about this. I guess my take is like that's pretty bullish if we're like not even to the new bull cycle yet. Um, and it sort of makes a bit of sense if you just like look at, I guess, compare like um macro or not macro, but like kind of like retail sentiment compared to what it was. Like I feel like there's like none right now. Like I don't have like anyone in my like I was talking about this I think the other day. Maybe it was with like JJ and Poop or something on VC, but um I don't like everyone, like a lot of my friends and family know that I'm in crypto. And like when I was in like 2021, for instance, people would like hit me up all the time, like asking me stuff like, oh, like what should I buy? And like um like asking me or like having me like, hey, like so and so, like my cousin was like into it and he would love to like buy you lunch or whatever to like pick your brain. Like stuff like that would happen quite frequently. And like I don't think a single person has even like contacted me, like asking me about the crypto market. And especially even like new people, when I tell them what I do, like about crypto, they're like, oh, cool. And like they just like don't ever ask me a follow up. Like they just don't care. I think that's kind of where it is still with retail. It's like retail just doesn't care about crypto. I think it's still like pretty in general that they think it's a scam. So that's kind of where I think like we haven't even like really gotten deep into any type of cycle yet, is like because we haven't even like seen really retail um enter back in yet, in my opinion. So I guess that's kind of a general where we are. Sorry, looks like I got DC'd for a second.
Yeah,
uh,
just a slight rug at the end of that sentence, just showing where we are. This is great though, and I agree with your points too, especially about just like normies and like family and stuff hitting you up. I haven't got any of those texts, man, and in cycles prior, I had my grandma was sending me Elon memes and asking me about Top Shot and stuff. Like it's just craziness. So I agree with you there. Haven't seen any of that. My barber hasn't asked me about any tokens, so I think we're safe as far as that goes. My take on the Kobe thing is, I just think it's kind of funny. It's like the market is so choppy and unpredictable right now that the man has just turned into a philosopher. He's over here talking about what is a cycle? What is a cycle really? Let's define it. Like, that's funny to me, that nobody really has any inkling of what direction we're going to go here or what the hell is going on. But I think that's my take anyway. Is that it's just telling that the market is in this weird limbo, unpredictable state, and people that we look to for signals and information are being weird. So, or at least throwing out hot takes or unorthodox takes. Like we're independent from any cycle. Is definitely a new one. At least for me hearing.
yeah, I can say like as far as my plan, like we might talk about it a little bit more in depth later, but Rainmaker's rugged last week, and I got thankfully like a decent enough payout from them from the rug for my stuff. And I'm kind of transferring a chunk over into crypto to buy a bit of this dip. um so I have some funds kind of on hand to add into the market that I'm looking to, and I haven't done that yet. um I'd say like I'm looking at there's really just kind of like two things I'm looking at. Either we like continue to dump, um, and I'll buy around that 44 k area on stuff, or if we just continue to show strength. I think like if we get back about like 60k back in that range, that would be pretty bullish. And we stay above that range for a little bit, not just like a temporary back in there. Then I probably like look to re-enter around that area. Right now it's still pretty in between mode at the moment, and I'm kind of just holding off and waiting, and maybe I'll pick a couple spots on some low cap stuff that looks good if I see something. But besides that, I'm just sitting on my hands and watching how this stuff plays out.
Yeah, it sounds like a sound strat, but just to kind of twist your arm a little bit more and force some action, hypothetically, if nothing else. Let's do another over under game, man. Seems like the perfect week to do it, where no one has any fucking
Sure.
clue what's going on. I'm not gonna. So last time I was bullish, and I think I influenced the take there by going with a really high number. I'm gonna take a different approach this time. We're gonna just rock it about where we're at now. So 55K. I want your prediction on August 12th. That's a week from now. Will Bitcoin be over 55K or under 55K? And then we'll bring it up next episode and see how you did.
Yeah, man, I really don't have a conviction
Flip
in
a
this at
coin.
all.
Flip a coin.
Uh,
Man.
I think if anything, I'd probably say, um, I'd probably say under
Okay.
if I had to pick.
It's
Yeah.
tricky. It's tricky too because we're just looking at it on Monday, so we could blast way higher and then come back down. But then on Monday, you could totally be right for just barely under. So a week is a long time. A lot can happen there. But we'll go ahead and lock in the under 55K.
Yep. I don't feel
Beautiful.
great about that at all.
How could you? How could you
I
feel
tell you
great about it?
if I felt any type of like decent way, but I really don't know that one.
Totally fair. Yeah, and that is me sticking your feet right onto the fire too. Just wanted to force an answer out of you. So I feel you for not feeling comfortable in it, but it's fun nonetheless. So yeah, we'll go ahead and lock in an under, and we'll see how you did.
Yeah, I did want to touch a bit about ETF stuff because I think there's some notable info there. Um, Here's a tweet. I believe this Watcher Guru is referencing Arkham. Oh yeah, this is the Arkham screenshot saying, uh, these big institutions haven't sold any of their Bitcoin despite the market crash. Also, we saw. Um, Let me find this. Someone posted in Voice Hangout earlier today. I think it might have been WAF about how within the first hour of trading, the BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF saw 1.5 billion in volume, which is honestly a crazy amount. So that's super interesting to me. I mean, we pumped during that time, so I would assume a lot of that is buying. It seems like uh, these institutions are buying the dip on crypto. That's relatively bullish. I think, maybe that's a bit of a signal that we aren't going to see any type of insane dips, or if we do, then they won't last too long. Just given that now we have these ETFs in the environment, or as a new area for like funds and institutions to get in, and maybe a lot of them are looking for entries since while they've been live, Bitcoin's been elevated in price. So I guess it's good. We'll see. We'll know more later today about how much that was inflow and how much that was outflow, and maybe we can glean a bit from that. We'll know like after trading is done. Usually it comes out like around like 8 or 9 p.m. I think is when we get a lot of the data Eastern on these funds. But it'll be interesting to see if we do get any type of huge inflows to see like how much like these TradFi is buying the dip on Bitcoin, as well as ETH. But yeah, that's honestly insane volume. 1.5 billion for reference. Like the last day of trading, let's see, August 2nd. I think there was about let's see here. I mean, it seems like there's only like 300 million like total in that day of volume. So that's crazy. It's already like 5x that in the first hour. So yes, a lot of notable price action going on there. Also, one other thing I want to touch on was the ETH ETF stuff. We talked about the last couple of weeks how there's some similarities, obviously, with the Bitcoin ETF when it launched, where Grayscale had a lot of ETH in their trust that was now unlocked. That was going to be sent out or sold basically out of that Grayscale ETF, because it was an inferior product and it could actually, it was the first time it could be actually unlocked. So that was expected. There's some certainly expected outflows. Those have been pretty big in terms of like the percentage of the overall ETH in that trust, and I think already over like 20. There's already about like 25% or so, maybe more. It's hard to know because it's like this is in dollar amounts, but ETH is also tanked a bunch, so it's actually probably like In dollar amounts, it was like 10 billion total, and 2.1 billion has exited. So that's like 21% in dollar amounts, but also ETH has gone down, so it's really higher than that. It's probably like 25 to 30% has already left that grayscale. And if you look at the outflows, they've slowed down significantly last week. So there could be some nice buy pressure coming in on the ETH front. If we kind of look back on what happened to Bitcoin when that ETF launched, again, this isn't like a perfect comparison by any means. It's just something hopefully we can glean some info from. But January 11th was the day that Bitcoin ETF launched, and Bitcoin price dumped considerably for about 2 weeks. It was basically like down only for 2 weeks after that launch. And then since then, it reversed quite heavily for the next about month and a half and pumped a bunch, I think from about like 40K to 70K during that time. And we're seeing actually something very similar with ETH. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of other factors with macro going on. But ETH, since the ETF launch, has dumped quite a bit. And it's been about 2 weeks now. And we've seen, that sell pressure from that Grayscale trust, is now reducing. And maybe, with this dip, maybe we'll get something similar to some nice uptrend with that sell pressure gone and these ETFs now live that institutions might start to really allocate towards them if they want, a more diversified crypto portfolio. They don't just want Bitcoin. Maybe they want a little bit a percentage in ETH as well. It would make sense that this would be a good dip buying spot for a lot of these institutions. But certainly remains to be seen. I just thought that was interesting that so far it's playing out that first leg of the 2 week dip in similarity. Fingers crossed it plays out the second leg similar too, and we get a nice pump on ETH too. But just something notable, we do see some ETH strength actually today for the last couple hours at least. It's holding up better than both Bitcoin and Solana so far. It's had a nice pump from the bottom. I think it's around 2,500 right now after falling under 2,200 earlier today.
Oh yeah, that's great. Excuse me, it's great context and information. I hadn't really even thought of that angle. Of course, we've been in this for a while, so we've traveled on the ETH rocket from $400 to 4,500 back to 900. So it is good context to sort of sit back and think these institutions, legally anyway, haven't had an entry this low. So it's a new low for them. So yeah, that is it's comforting in some weird way that this is a new low for them. So it makes sense they'd want to alleviate some of the dipping and sort of DCA in and sort of level their position and stuff at these new lows for them, where to us just sort of feels like, yeah, like what the hell's going on? But for them, it's a juicy opportunity. So yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, I guess like TLDR of all that would be if we're ever going to see some type of ETH strength, about now would be the time.
Right about now. Yeah, checking the charts instead of the watch.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. It's been not very promising pretty much this entire cycle so far. So I don't have like huge expectations, but maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised here and we'll get some nice ETH strength going.
Hey man, what is a cycle really? Well, define. I'm
Right.
just kidding. Well, beautiful, man. I appreciate that. Anybody want to jump in, share any thoughts, concerns, war stories, anything macro, ETF, ETH, Bitcoin, anything macro related? We're just talking numbers here. But if anybody wants to jump in and ask any questions or share any takes, this would be a great time. If somebody doesn't unmute and tell me everything's going to be fine right now, I'm going to start crying.
0.
Fuck! Oh, JJ, how could you? Oh, God.
Nah, it's good takes, guys. I know Jake Poop and I just kind of chopped it up last time we were here in Waffle as well. But yeah, interested to hear your thoughts, if any, have changed. I think we talked last time about alts, and yeah, I've been seeing this theory going around, like, ETH is pretty fragmented, and that might be why it's being held back. You have things like AVEX that has all this bullish news, and it's getting crushed, but all alts are getting crushed. And I think we were talking like, maybe, just maybe, alts are just insanely overvalued in general. You see Blast under 1 bill today, and so I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, man. I still think I do kind of agree. I think yeah, we talked about it. On Friday, I think it was, but there's just so many coins out there now, and there's just new ones continuously being put in the market. I feel like it's like at a faster rate too, and it's not like the old coins are going away. They're still out there. There's still people that hold them. So I feel like you said, it's pretty fragmented in terms of liquidity, and if there's not a ton of new people coming in, it's really hard to get these valuations up. I think, um, just in general, it's gonna be more pockets instead of like the entire market pumping. It'll be more pockets of the hotter coins that'll see action, and uh, some losers are just gonna continue to be, losers and not really go crazy. I mean, even these valuations now, if you like kind of think about it, like they're still like pretty crazy amounts. I mean, $1 billion market cap for a coin that has how many thousands, maybe just like thousands of users, or I don't know. Some of these are still pretty crazy if we think about it. And there's just so many of them that, yeah, man, I agree. Essentially, I guess what I'm saying is I don't have a ton of hope for, I guess, all the alts in general, but I think there will be certainly some that do very well um, over the course of the next cycle. It's just kind of like picking which ones is going to be the tough part.
Oh yeah, thanks for that. No, it makes sense. I mean, could be that these things have always been overvalued, and maybe maybe it's just like they'll bottom out when Bitcoin stabilizes or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I just looked at Blast today. I just was like, I'm curious if Jake's thoughts have changed at all when we talked about.
I think on a similar note, like we were seeing people kind of just say, fuck it. Like none of these, what alt do I pick? Like these all seem overvalued. I'm just gonna buy memes instead. And we've seen memes be a leading indicator in a lot of basically like on every dip, every like bounce after dip. Memes are the ones that are bouncing the hardest. We're seeing it again this time, like today, for instance. One of the hot ones is Nero, right? The ETH one the one that actually won out. That one's showing some really nice strength. I think it's at like 170 million or something like that, and it got down to, yeah. Let's see. Oh, it's almost 180 million now. It got down to
Yeah,
about 100 million. Its all time high is only like 210 million, so it's really not very far from its all time high after the entire market just shit the bed. Um, it's showing a ton of strength, and it's just one of the hot coins. We're seeing some of the other ones like Mog, and PopCat as from like the bigger meme side, showed some really nice bounces as well. I think that's just going to continue, especially once retail comes back. It seems like that's just what people want, is to just degen on some meme coins, and hopefully, I guess the whole I guess the again, it's the same thing with alts. It's just like you got to pick the right ones. But it certainly seems like the meme market is one that people are more interested in.
yeah. It's a good thing you shouted that. I think we talked about it even at that time, right? Like, I think we were saying like memes seem like they're here to stay, and UX UI is just way better. And I don't know, alts just feel like mid curving compared to these, right? Um, uh, like Nero is a good one because I think even Vitalik sold it, and it's still pumping after that.
Yeah, he full stacked it.
Is Vitalik the worst trader ever? I think it's a conversation we might need to have at some time.
I don't think he needs to be a good trader.
That's fair. That's fair. Do dev things. One I wanted to ask you about, man, was Pirate, because it's I mean, like all things, it's bleeding pretty hard. But I know we've talked about it a lot. We had an AMA with them, actually. I hosted AMA spaces with them last week, and The sentiment's not great. It's definitely it's not the end of the world or anything, but they've got some problems, and we addressed them during the spaces, and I was pretty hard on them, and they were pretty genuine with their responses and stuff. I mean, they know they had a problem with their queues and stuff with the game, but I'm more curious about the pirate token at this point, just because it's down to 17 cents this morning, and we were just at 45 a couple weeks ago. Fortunately, I unloaded a decent size of the bag up there in the 40s, but lost out on the multiplier because of it. But I'm just curious if it's time to jump back in, man. Down here at 17 cents seems pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm still holding the big bag. I don't really I don't have too much concern, to be honest. It's a pretty comfy hold for me. I still like it's been the same thesis since originally had the NFTs almost 2 years ago that I've been holding. I just it's an excellent team, and they've continued to show that they're an awesome team. They have really big backers and partnerships. They have a nice war chest to use, and they just have a ton of experience of being able to ship games to millions of users. And I like where the game's heading. It's just there's certainly some technical difficulties that they have to overcome first, and I feel pretty confident that they'll do that. So it's kind of just like for me, I'm just like waiting, and I get why it's dumped. Like the game's been rough for free to play, and then that going with macro at the same time, it makes sense to me that it would fall quite a bit. With like you said, the sentiment being lower than what it was, just like a month or two ago. But yeah, for me, it's still like pretty comfy hold. I'm not really looking at this in terms of like a daily or weekly time frame. It's more like months to a year for me for this kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm really just not really worried.
Cool. All right, one more question for you. Not pirate token specific, but just pirate the game. I think one of the big loud problem was the queues and stuff, but I think the quiet, more sinister, read between the lines sort of FUD point right now is their shift away from play to earn, and just kind of pooping on the free to play players, like you mentioned just now. But I don't know, something weird seems to have happened, and I wanted to get your take on it. I don't know if the timing kind of linked up with the Rainmaker stuff, so maybe I should take my tinfoil hat off. But it seems like they've taken like a complete 180 on their sort of their comms, their communication, and just how they speak about how the game, like what the game's supposed to do. Like I don't know, it was weird because obviously they did the bounty stuff, the booty points, I mean, and a lot of farming, and people made a lot of money in season one. But one of the things that we kind of touched on during the spaces was they don't want people to make money from this game. They said we're here to entertain, not employ. And they basically are taking steps to sort of lump these free to play quote unquote farmers in with botters and other people that are malicious to their ecosystem. So it seems like they're just taking a full firm stance on you're not going to make money, don't expect to make money, which has been different from their messaging all up until this point. They didn't outright say play our game and make money, but all of their marketing and their systems and their loops and all of that was definitely founded in like on chain, which has a lot of like play to earn sort of overlap and parallels. So just curious if you had to take, if not, totally fine. But it just seems like they've done a 180 right around the time that Rainmakers imploded, and they're very vocally saying you're not going to make money and like screaming that to people. So I was just curious if you had any thoughts there.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really like noticed that big of a change. I mean, there's still booty points and stuff. It's like the same as this first season where you can grind for points, and you earn the pirate and the pop points and stuff, and you can earn items and stuff in the game to sell. So I don't know why a game would ever want to say, "Hey, you can make money from this game." Like that would be pretty dumb, in my opinion. And I'll kind of open you up to a lot of like you could open you up to like legal liability and such. And I don't think they've ever said that. So I don't really understand that part. But yeah, so that's not really like a red flag to me at all. It doesn't really make sense why a game would tell you can make money from the game. I think it makes more sense if you want to grow to like a big player base to focus more on like the fun aspect of it, and the make money parts kind of just like a hey, wink wink, like duh. if it's gonna be successful, like it'll probably do pretty well. Type thing. I guess that's I don't really know what steps from the free to play stuff because I haven't really paid attention to the free to play because
Yeah,
I
it's
haven't
totally
found.
fair. Yeah, yeah, cool. Just wanted to hear it takes. Yeah, appreciate just the perspective of somebody else that's in the ecosystem, but on the other end, you know what I mean. I'm a free to play little tadpole compared to some of these massive whales. So cool. Yeah, just wanted to get your quick thoughts on that one, but appreciate it.
Yeah, I think a lot of this, I've been seeing this a lot. I just think like I get why people are upset, like market's not doing well and the queue times are really long for free to play stuff. I would be frustrated too, but I think a lot of the FUD's pretty overblown. I think we've seen the team deliver and time again, and they're continuing to innovate. So I'm kind of just trusting in them. I'm not really too worried about the future of the game right now.
It could
At
be
least
the old
at least
classic.
in the next like months to a year. Long, like super long term. I think any like play to earn game has a tough road, but if you're building something as far as like upcoming bull cycle and getting retail involved, at least until like that point, I'm not too worried. So at least until like months to a year, so I feel pretty good.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Appreciate it. Cool. Well, I didn't have anything else. I was just kind of curious about that one. Thought it might be a good point to bring it up, sweeping these new lows. But of course, a lot of tokens are doing that. But definitely open to any other topics, thoughts, conversations, or questions from the crowd, or if there's anything else you want to go through, Jake. Happy to hear you out.
What are you buying?
Let's say I mean ETH Nero looks pretty nice with his strength right now. I'm not buying anything right now. I'm kind of sitting on my hands.
Yeah.
And watching because I don't know if this is just like a dead cat bounce right here and we keep going lower or what. But I will say
Yeah.
like coins that I'm looking at to hopefully bottom buy. I didn't get my money in time this morning. I tried to send it to Coinbase and unfortunately I couldn't get it in time to get the dip. But I would say I'm looking at Aura is one I really like. Meme coin, I think it's around like 27 mil or something right now. I just think it's like the word of the year. It seems like for oh man, I sound like such a old guy saying this, but like for like Gen Z and shit, Gen Alpha, yeah. Uh, yeah, if you want alpha, I feel like on what meme coins to buy, I think just like spend all your day on TikTok and maybe
Yeah.
you'll figure out what people are talking about. But
Does.
yeah, Aura's probably like the biggest one I like right now at these prices because I think there's a nice chance for some multiples, and it just seems like kind of like uh, the hot new thing right now, and it makes a lot of sense um, for something that retail might want to get in on. Then ETH Nero as well, as it seems like it won the Nero coin war thing that could have some nice multiples, but it's already pretty high. It certainly could go to like a billion, but that's usually not what I love. And then this another one that's showing a lot of strength is the smoking chicken fish, which is like such a ridiculous meme. It's just like some chicken smoking a cigarette, but it's like registered as like a real religion in church, and I think they have like actual church meetings and stuff. It's just so ridiculous that it actually could do pretty well. Those are kind of like the main ones I'd say I'm looking at right now. Oh, also on ONG coin, which is like a lower market cap one. I like too, and I'm in, but that's more of a degenerate play.
Yeah, I like those shots. Definitely saw like my friend's kid this weekend. Like I just at my friend's house and her kid was just saying aura a lot. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
How old's your kid?
12. That's the new gen, the Gen
Oh
Alphas.
shit!
Dude, I
Yeah.
got my niece and nephew over right now. They're 9 and 13. I'm about to go ask them what to throw all my money at right now. I'm about to go in the next room and be like, what's the word? What's
Smart.
the word of the week?
Yup.
I'll report back in the VC hangout.
Yes.
Financial advice.
I got to read this comment from Cassware. Japan's economy is collapsing. We're on the brink of World War III. What do you like in the markets? Smoking chicken fish. That's great. Yeah, it's true. It's just so ridiculous. I thought Meg had a really good tweet earlier today too. I think
Dude, that
she's
was so great.
I'll have to find it. Oh, here it is. Oh yeah, you got it. Yeah,
Oh, hey,
crypto.
it's me. It's me in the intro of this episode. What the hell? Like, yes, this feels more like home. Now I feel comfortable.
Yeah, man. I didn't have any other topics on my docket here. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to chat about?
I could give a quick shout. There's like 6 field reports in there. There's a couple missions that are live. If ever there was a week to take a deep breath and do some housekeeping, this would be a good time to go dive into those field reports, knock out some missions, get some points and stuff. But other than that, no, I'm just chilling. So take a break here, see if anybody from the audience has any questions. We can head on into this week.
I do gotta say a quick RIP to Rainmakers. Unfortunately, we got rugged last week out of nowhere. DraftKings shut down their Rainmakers product due to some kind of legal suit. I guess someone sued them. Some dude lost like $14,000 just because he whatever reason he wasn't good at the game or or whatever the market or whatever. And then he decided to sue DraftKings and say that they're unregistered securities. And it seems like he won the lawsuit, or at least he's winning it.
Lord, man, that's
Well,
just crazy.
So
the judge didn't dismiss. So
yeah. So they're just like, well, we're just going to shut everything down. So they did that, and then they offered everyone a cash payment based on whatever their calculation was, and it wasn't good for vast majority of people. Certain cards got effed. I know JJ's was not good, unfortunately.
yeah, I was gonna say they probably
there's-
did a good job, like in general. It's just prior year
Yeah.
NFL seemed to get the shaft. But I saw like people with UFC and PGA, they were pretty happy. So I guess as a whole, it was all right. It was funny because they did, I think, a $1 billion buyback for stocks on the same day.
They basically offer an amount. It seemed like, at least for mine, especially, it was like lower than what I had hoped, like lower than what I thought fair value was, but not low enough to where I would want to take legal action to make it worth it. So they just like found that sweet spot,
Yeah.
which is just pisses you off, But it's like, whatever. I'm gonna take my money and run.
And I had no exposure to Rainmakers, maybe like the sign up pack, like $10 or something like that. But it still just rustles my jimmy so much, man, just because of the prominence of just sports betting and just like how it's completely swept the country. And that's totally fine and cool, but like you add an element of like skill or resellability, all of a sudden security. It's madness.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. And I don't want to get political or anything, but I do want to say I should just run for president. Who's voting for me, man? Please. Got to see some changes here.
Yeah, we certainly do. Hopefully we get some laxer laws here. It seems like, from both parties, it's trending in a better territory for crypto, but it remains to be seen if there's any action that's going to be taken.
Yeah, we're just kind of stuck. It's like it feels like it's stupid. It feels like everyone knows it's stupid, and yet here we are. Can't do anything about it. Infuriating. But yeah, I'm really sorry to everybody that was part of the Rainmakers ecosystem. I mean, it seemed as top tier as it can get. It seems as safe as you could possibly touch. Digital assets. But alas, it ended the same as so many.
Yeah, at least it's not a complete zero. I mean, we were going to pay out from it. They actually delivered the payouts already. They did it within like the same day, which was really nice. And it's actually coming at a good time to buy the dip. Hopefully, before it continues to. Well, hopefully before at like the right time to buy the dip, and it doesn't just continue to dip. But
that's true. If
it wasn't
a
one benefit. Yeah.
Sorry. I was gonna say if it wasn't a public company. Oh God, I think we're lagged out. You go ahead, please.
I was just saying it's a good time to get some cheaper prices.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. That is nice that they gave the payout too. If it wasn't a big company, and it was an anon Twitter PFP or NFT project, they probably would have done another big mint right before they rugged. They'd have been like premium packs, $2,000, come get them, and then just disappeared. So at least we got that going for us. Could have been worse.
I mean, they kind of did though.
Oh fuck. Okay, shit. Well, there I go speaking without research. God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people like minted or bought packs and then they crafted these packs and they got like 20% value or something on those. So that was brutal.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, sorry again.
But no, I mean, are you guys looking at any areas of crypto like you can maybe see like bouncing in the next couple months, maybe 6 months even? Like, I don't know, dare I say NFTs, but those seem like they're going to
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any. I mean, besides like the Founders Pirates that I actually like use every day to play the game and stuff. Uh, and it's also like kind of like staking for other stuff. That's like the only NFTs I'm in right now. For the most part. But yeah, I guess just meme coins. Meme coins is what I'm looking at.
I'd say like social stuff always has like some sort of little mini meta every 4 or 5 months. There's some sort of social craze that everybody wants to rush and get on top of. But CBD there. What about gaming? I heard people played Gunzilla and it was good. I haven't actually seen any or Off the Grid, whatever the name of the actual game is. I did hear some positive stuff about it though. I need to dig into that.
I haven't seen anything on that. I've seen some other games do well. Like there's this Moonfrost Mint. I think anything that has like a token attached will still do well. That kind of shocked me. But yeah, I mean Parallel has like its league going, but it seems like that sector's kind of just in a waiting zone right now.
I guess the only one I can think of is Beacon Global release and TGEs in December. But so you guys won't have to hear me speak about Beacon until then. But hopefully something cool will happen in December.
Yeah, I mean that has the token attached, right, with the Ritz. So
Yeah,
that might be a play. I mean, like Arbitrum ecosystem has that big grant that bring that they did a couple months ago. So maybe that brings value. It's hard to see you losing too much, on the Ritz. Like it seems like a good risk reward.
Yeah, I think I exited most and plan to re-enter closer to December. Just people forget, so it's kind of a long promise for them to drop in July and say delivery in December. So I'm hoping I'm kind of banking on the short attention span there. Get back in a little.
Yeah, and that's another thing with the games, right? Like they could just never deliver.
Oh yes, they totally could do that, JJ. You're spot on.
Might be something for later, but I don't know if WAF Dog's here, but have you been looking at like runes at all? I was looking at puppets today. Those looked interesting.
I just pictured WAF's eyes shooting open like the SBF gif. And you said runes.
GM.
What's up? What's up?
GM WAF, welcome.
So yeah, I mean, Puppet's down to like 0.06, around that range. It's probably the bottom, but NFA, do your own diligence.
Trying to do the math on how much money that is. Real quick. Yeah, 0.07 looks like it is right now.
I mean, they had already crashed before, so they didn't really go that much further down on this dip.
Yeah, I mean, looking at all of those, they all seem pretty down, like nodes, and surprisingly, Quantum Cats is doing the best.
Yeah, I guess if I did buy these, I'd probably want to. Seems like Ordinals might be the first place I'd look.
I mean, the prices are definitely attractive at these levels. I mean, considering where they came from, they've already kind of retraced 75 to 80% already.
How much lower can they go?
I mean, that's a good question. On Puppets, I think like if you look back, 0.07 was sort of like their first level of, I want to say, resistance when they're on the way up. It kind of was at 0.07 for a while before they really took off. But yeah, Shaggy's right. They could go to zero.
I mean,
Sorry, I just had to throw it out there.
I don't know if you've looked at Soul NFTs, but those look like zero. So, uh, like Tensorians are at 7, I
God.
think.
I haven't looked at Soul NFT prices in months.
One
Yeah.
day Tatsumiku will make me go look at Soul NFTs again. But till then,
Oh God, I still have those. I forgot about them.
This kind of market, just the Bitcoin and the major alts are like really all you need to play. I mean, we're already so far out there on the risk curve. No reason to get like even further out. At the moment, that's like my take on the whole market at this point.
See, chat though, you've been liking Soul.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's like my number one pick after Bitcoin is Sol. Just like a believer in the adoption with Solana, and I think the price has moved down so much so quickly. It's I just feel like it's on sale.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I think like NFTs on there aren't really a thing. It's like people really buy Soul for like one thing. It's to play in the casino. And that's always gonna be attractive, I think. Especially like with Pump Fun and like Photon Meme Scope and BullX. Like the user experience is pretty good. Um you can argue why, it's a lot easier to rug, blah blah blah, but I think for most users it's probably net positive compared to like last year's meme cycles.
I agree with that, and then I also think the reason why you see NFTs lagging is because that's sort of like the big money flex, and right now there's no big money flexing going on right now, so that's why you don't see NFTs doing really well.
well, I'm glad everyone is in good spirits and sort of taking this rocky market in stride. I know we're mostly all veterans here, but it's still just refreshing to see people memeing and joking instead of it's so over.
There's only so many rugs I can take before, you just have to have a sense of humor about these things.
Absolutely. Hide the pain, mask it. Things fine.
I mean, as long as you're surviving, I think that's winning in this space, right? Just so many like 100x, 1000x opportunities out of nowhere. I mean, even last month we had Miggles, right? I mean, if you just were in the right place, right time, with the right amount of forgetfulness, you could just make it. So, things might seem bad, but I think I said in the Rainmakers chat, right? Like, got rugged on Gemini, got rugged on DraftKings, and now we have the market crashing, but still standing. So,
Yeah.
if this is the
Absolutely.
worst, life is pretty good.
Yeah, I think I sat down on Saturday and just hit Rabby and saw that I was down like 50%. I was like, oh, and I opened CoinGecko and saw everything was down 20% for the day. And I said, oh, and I just got right back up and left and went back outside. It's like, I'm just not doing it today. Sometimes you just got to touch that grass, man. Save you some mental bandwidth, save you some stress.
Yeah, I think the ultimate goal is just survive, right? Until we get to a time where it becomes easy mode again. I firmly believe we will have that again. But and like you said, JJ, there's going to be some awesome spots, occasionally, even in choppy times where it's just pretty obvious play. But
Yeah.
as long as you don't blow everything on trying to chase those gains on stuff that isn't as obvious.
And like in hindsight, I think we talked about this last time too, like when we were just drinking and shooting the shit. Like even Blast was like in hindsight it was like a pretty obvious play, right? Like for easy mode. Didn't cost
Yeah.
much, if anything, and we didn't really hit it as hard, but we still did really well as a group. Had all the information, but like we didn't like full send farm it. There's just so much other stuff going on.
Yeah, and there's gonna, even though it doesn't seem like there's much right now in the market, like there'll be more things that pop up, and you're gonna allocate to that look pretty good. Again, as long as you just stay alive until then, not blow up trying to chase every little thing, trying to get your portfolio back. I've certainly made that mistake plenty of times where I lose money and then it's like, oh, I don't have that anymore. Like I need to quick make that back, and that's like the worst thing you can do because you're just taking trades that are worse EV than you normally would.
Well, and you like are allergic to taking profits when you should also. Like I had that with Yuga, right? Like I was up so fat and I'm like, you know what? Just a little more and I'll make it all back. And then nuke.
Yeah, I think something I'm trying to do better is just DCAing out more so that doesn't become, an all or nothing. I'm trying to hopefully correct from previous cycle where I had it very much all or nothing, and it helped a lot of times. Where you could hold and things just went crazy on you, but then when everything goes bad, it looks tougher when you didn't really sell enough at the top.
Yeah. And you don't even have to sell much either, right? Like if you sold like 10-20% in March or April, back when things were pretty peaky, like it's still pretty good position right now.
Yeah, I think I did a better job of that this cycle, but still could have done more. So you always learn to like just take more profit, always.
I could swear someone was telling us that in like 2021. Might have been a guy in here with a Scooby Doo PFP.
One thing I didn't forgot to mention earlier, the Bitcoin stuff, but I think it's pretty notable on a longer time frame. Is I just posted this article. Morgan Stanley approves their advisors to start offering Bitcoin ETFs to wealthy clients. Like previously, like it's basically just it seems like there's quite a lengthy like compliance process before, even though the ETFs were live, they couldn't really like advertise or advise clients to actually like buy into the ETFs. So now they can to wealthy clients. Looks like it's like people who own like or like 1.5 million or more portfolios. But it's a good sign that this is now like starting and like these reviews are starting to become completed and they can start actually advertising. I think that'll lead to in the long run a higher flows if they can actually like tell people, hey, like this is a good place to allocate your money. Like even though they've been live, they it seems like they previously couldn't. And maybe Shaggy, I see Shaggy typing. Maybe he'll provide more context there too. But
It's funny
pretty
they're
good to
doing
see
it.
on a longer time frame.
It's funny they're doing it for the rich people. They're like, hey, you can buy ETH, but if you want to play in that playground, you need some bankroll. You need some money to lose here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of exit like in that sense, right? I mean, it'll probably roll out in a long time and long phases. Like government has like this thing for retirement called thrift savings plan, and that probably is like I don't know a shit ton of money, and I don't foresee them having a crypto allocation anytime soon because it's so slow for government, right? But once that does happen, it's a lot of money.
He says can't be solicited, non-solicited only. Does that just mean like they can? I guess how does that process work? Like they can't advise to invest in them, but they can now like can invest in them. They previously couldn't. Oh, okay, I see. They can buy if customer asks, but they can't recommend. Is there is there like another process to approval for like soliciting, or is that just like not gonna happen? We are getting a live text update. He says will happen one day, probably. These companies are in no rush, too much liability. Sweet, appreciate the context. Well, that's good. I didn't know that they previously couldn't buy. I guess, yeah, that's interesting.
They just can't point them towards it. I guess once we're in one of those hype cycles and the news won't shut the hell up about Bitcoin and everybody's making money, I guess at that point you don't really need to solicit, right? And people will be like, please, will you take my money and get me that Bitcoin stuff?
Right. Cool. Well, we could probably wrap up the show portion, man. We can keep chopping it up, but
Beautiful. Yeah. Right over the hour mark here. Sounds good to me. Reminder, we do have Boss Dogs later today. TBD on the time there. It might go off as normal. It might be pushed back slightly. So just keep an eye out on events if you plan on attending that one. But as always, we'll be back next week, Monday, 12 Eastern, with another episode of Wake and Jake. Appreciate everybody rolling out of bed and hanging out with us. We're going to keep chopping it up here in VC for a little bit. But for the show purposes, go ahead and cut it there. Thanks for coming, everybody.